Anyway, I think I will go ahead and start the meeting. I don't have a bell today, so I have my decoder ring. Start the meeting, and I just had to play, in my song here, because this is Vocational Services Month. Actually, wait, let's do this. I would like to start this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I hear somebody typing. If someone could just put their phone on mute, that would help. We are starting a new year, administration, and I just think it's appropriate that we will honor our country. So, Lee Morton, can you start us with the Pledge of Allegiance? Can you hear me? No, I'm going to ask, I'll ask Ted Calvert. Will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
All right. I pledge allegiance
To
the flag of the United States of America,
and
to the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to introduce our visiting Rotarians. I don't think we have any. We have some who we haven't seen in a while. Leanna, Happy New Year.
You're muted.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Good morning. And Chris, good morning. I know you've been on a couple calls recently, but I just want to say hi specifically to you. And it looks like Leslie Brutocao. Is that how we pronounce it?
It's Brutocao.
Brutocao. Thank you. Leslie is going to be our guest speaker this morning, and Edward will be introducing her. So thank you very much for joining us.
Sure, thank you.
We're looking forward to your topic. Larry Mills, will you please lead us or give us your inspiration for today?
Well, I'll try, Nancy. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year to everyone. I want to do a quick survey before I give the inspiration. How many people stayed up until midnight to welcome the new year? That's what I thought. Oh, well, you did. Most of us went to bed about 9 o'clock. But anyway, there's an old saying that
East Coast.
Yeah, East Coast. There you go. There's an old saying that an optimist stays up until midnight to see the new year in, and a pessimist stays up to make sure the old year leaves. Anyway, all right, that's just aside. For inspiration this morning, I reached back to the 19th century British poet Alfred Lord Tennyson, who was living during Queen Victoria's reign. And here's what he said. This is about the new year. Hope smiles from the threshold of the year to come, whispering, it will be happier.
Thank you for inspiring us. President-elect Larry. Larry, this is the first meeting of my last 6 months.
Uh-oh. I'm feeling the pressure.
Pressure is mounting.
You're already counting down.
Who, me? Well, this is Vocational Services Month. And okay, so here's my quick little song this morning.
I gotta be me. I gotta be me. What else can I be but one?
Thank you, Sammy Davis Jr. for that. Vocational Services Month. I just thought I would share this with you all, because I think sometimes there's confusion with what Rotary International means by this. Am I sharing?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Darn this thing. Oh, who's barking out there?
All right, you
What?
should have permission now to have it turned on.
Oh, that's the problem. I wasn't given permission. Am I sharing now?
Nope.
Nope.
There we go. Is that now? Can you hear me now?
Now you're sharing.
Oh, I don't want to show him again. Okay, so educational services focuses on adherence to and promotion of the highest ethical standards in all occupations, including fair treatment of employers, employees, associates, competitors, and the public. The recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, not just those that are pursued by Rotarians, and the contribution of your vocational talents to solving the problems of society and meeting the needs of the community. And I just thought these were really nice because, you know, we all have, we've been doing our craft talks these past few months and listening to what people have done for a living and how we can contribute those skills to our community. And we'll continue to do these craft talks through the month. And hopefully we will all be able to, once again, get out into the public and do our good work. And I know Leslie's presentation today about the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute will help build on our own skills and love of learning. So let's think about this month. I'm hoping to have the Interact Club do a meeting this month, which we can also help them with our contributions. So let's keep our eyes on that target, please. Let's see, committee reports. So Dan Erickson is going to update us on the most recent board meeting. Dan, please, you're on mute.
Thank you, President Nancy, fellow Rotarians. Yes, we had a board meeting last Wednesday, the 30th of December. We presented the minutes and the treasurer's report. They were approved. The minutes are now posted on the website. If somebody needs to see them or wants to see them and can't find them, let me know and I'll help you get there. We discussed our membership. We're going into the new year with 30 members. That's what we'll be paying Rotary International on our dues basis. It was discussed that President Nancy would send out a letter encouraging everybody to be on an automatic payment so that we don't have to try and go collect dues and expenses from people. Let's see. Jay is working on a SRAG project. I don't know if you want to talk about that now, Jay, or give your thunder later. Anyway, that's going forward. It's going to try and enhance the habitat for monarch butterflies, which are under strain. And we got a thank you letter from the food pantry. We gave them $750, which they used to buy a bunch of hams, and they were well received by the client base of them. And it was, other than that, that was a pretty quiet meeting.
Thank you. Any questions, anybody? I just wanted to comment quickly on the hams. We, as a board, I had talked to the board about Corazon wanting us to help fund a ham purchase giveaway. But the more we discussed it amongst the board, we decided that the issue really boiled down to people being hungry, and that's where the need was most prevalent. So we started with $250. One of our members, Andy, was going to contribute $250 anyway to the food pantry, and then the club matched the $250, which brought it up to $750. So we donated that to the food pantry, and without us making a a big deal about it, they actually did go out and buy hams. So that was wonderful. He said that the hams were so loved because people haven't been given meat in the year. It's been vegetables and dairy products. So the ham was very well appreciated. The other thing is George Dutton, through his family's ham, they have a honey baked ham store in Santa Rosa. They have donated 6 hams. We weren't able to use those for this project, but I'm thinking of putting them into our upcoming farm stand auction. So think about what you're going to do with ham this coming year. Anyway, okay, we will move on. Thank you very much, Dan Erickson, Secretary Dan. So Lance, do you have any dates set up yet for the choices training?
No, I'm still trying to work with, get in touch with the principal. So as soon as I hear from him, we'll have some general idea of what the timing is. And then they are doing trainings online every few weeks. So it'll be easy to grab one once we know kind of what the total schedule is.
Okay, that sounds good. So Jay, with regard to what Dan Erickson was just asking you about the SREG project, do you want to save that for next week when we have more time devoted to that, or do you want to update us right now?
No, I'd like to save it for next week.
Okay, great. So Terry Tremblay, I don't see him on the call. He proposed, we were talking about just the meeting time right now, the 7 a.m. and just nothing. I don't even remember how it came up during our board meeting, but we were kind of joking about many of us are retired, and so we're all wondering why the heck are we getting up at 7 a.m. But we're a sunrise meeting, so that's what we do. But Terry proposed that we maybe try, just for fun, not to change the meeting time, but for a later meeting time in the day, like around 5 o'clock or something. Larry, you and I were talking about this offline. Would you mind helping me with this idea? Because I don't see Terry on the call.
You can read it in my mind.
I think the idea was that, and Nancy already articulated it, that many of us, including me, do not have 9 to 5 jobs or 8:30 to 5 jobs, as we're retired or working part-time. And it seems more difficult to have 7 a.m. meetings. And we started thinking about, well, could we do it later? And then we thought, well, some people do have to go to work, so that might not be good. And then someone suggested, well, why don't we do a end of the day meeting just as a trial and see what people think about that? Not to move the meetings. This would be a temporary or just sporadically do afternoon meetings. That's about as far as the idea went. Everybody, I think this is a board meeting, and everybody thought, well, the club members need to think about that. But we're used to meeting at 7 o'clock, so it might be hard to change at this point.
Yes, so we were going to just do a little straw poll, and perhaps Lance can help us set that up on in our little voting opportunity.
Just in the chat thing, we could do it.
Yeah, and just to get people's ideas or feelings about it, and then if that sounded fun, what would be some times that would work best for everybody, and just give us your opinion.
Right now?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think Lance just posted a poll.
I was typing furiously.
Sorry, I don't know if I included you. My ability to focus on putting these meetings together while I've got 3 little ones running around is really different. And so last night I decided, okay, I better print my agenda. And when I did, when I went on to get the agenda, it looks like I lost all the work I had done on Sunday. So I had to recreate it last night. So that was my, okay, so if we clicked yes, then what happens? It just goes into the poll?
Yes.
Do we close it? Do we close
I can. It looks like a substantial majority of people like the idea of an occasional afternoon or evening meeting.
Okay, and did anyone suggest any time that works better for?
That should probably go in the chat because I don't have a way of creating that sort of set of questions.
Okay, so maybe either the chat or send emails with your preference if you are interested in that idea.
I think at the board meeting, we also said we might have a discussion at this meeting and then actually try to reach a consensus at a future meeting. So it's nice to get all the input, but I don't think we're going to make a decision today. That was my sense, Nancy.
Yeah, no, I agree. So you would just want to talk about it. So if we have about 70% in favor, who is not, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but just to understand what the issue is, or maybe your evening gets consumed by family. What does anybody want to speak up about that?
I thought one of the biggest draws for the morning meeting are for those they attract the people who are working, and it's really an added benefit. You get the day going. I know there's a lot of people at the noon meeting that, they're all most of them are retired and they can't put it into their schedule. So, Tom, how do you feel on that? Seeing how he's a hardworking man.
Because everything's virtual right now, I'm good either way, right? Whether it's 7 a.m. or 5 p.m. I think 5 p.m. is fine too. So I voted for 5, but either way is fine.
Okay.
Being old and loving routines, I don't want to add complexity to my life of, well, is it this week that we meet at 5 or is it next week that we meet at 5? 7 o'clock in the morning is great. Scheduled, I'm up. I'm not terribly interested in complicating when I have to go to a meeting. And I think if other people feel that way, we'll have less attendance at all of our meetings.
Good points.
President Nancy?
Yeah.
If you are thinking about doing a survey in detail for each member to respond to after giving this some thought and so forth, I noticed that you mentioned our membership starting the first of the month or first of the year was 30. Wonder if you could include something about, does anybody object to changing the time so much that they would leave our club?
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and like Larry and I mentioned, this would just be a temporary thing for a little change of pace, but not a permanent change. So, but yes, that's a good point too, to include in a survey, because we certainly don't want to drive anybody off a cliff.
We're not going to become the Sunset Club.
Although Colleen was pushing for that. She wanted the Sunset Cocktail Club.
Also, I think we ought to consider what, if any, effect this might have on our speakers' availability, because back when we were having physical meetings, speakers would always comment about, when they had to leave in order to be there by 7 o'clock and all that. So is that of any significance or whatever? I'm not sure, but it's worth thinking about.
Yeah, Nancy, one of the things I'd point out is that for me personally, 5 o'clock, 4:30, has a lot better chance of running into other activities I'm involved in. So my meeting attendance would be a lot less.
We don't want that, Archie.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It'll go the way it goes.
Yeah, no, I'm playing.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose your attendance. No, these are great points. So we'll run a survey, and maybe we'll just have like one meeting at 5 o'clock for a cocktail party. And
why don't we just have a cocktail party?
We've tried that.
7 o'clock sounds good in the morning.
If you come to my house on Friday mornings and work out, we have mimosas after our 7 a.m. workout. It's a ritual. So very fun. We've been doing it since April. Okay, well, we thank you for your comments, and we will send out a survey, and just everybody has their chance to speak. Okay, so this Friday morning, we are going to have a meeting to look at our website. I'm bringing Vicki Norris in, and a few of us are going to chat about how to get that website looking a little more professional. And if anyone is interested, please, I will send out the invite, and I will let you know when it is. But if you don't want to actually attend the meeting, I'd love it if you could look at our club runner and look at it and just tell us what you think. What would you like to see changed? What information needs to be there and what doesn't? Now that I've been working from Alexandria, Virginia, I'm now getting connected to Alexandria, Virginia Rotary Club. They actually have 115 members, and their website is really nice. It's slick. So you might look around at other clubs to see what you're seeing, and then we will get ours a little more current. So please let me know what you think. Okay, I wanted to show you the Craft Talk schedule coming up. Speaking of vocational services, can you see that? Oh, Will, doggone it. I keep hoping Will shows up, but he's been busy. January and February Craft Talks. January 20th. I've changed it up a little bit. So some of you may have looked at the one I presented before. This one is updated. We've got Jay coming up on January 20th. February 3rd, Chris Cameron. February 10th, Diane Bucher. And February 17th, Steve Ruid. So get your vocational mojo going, and we look forward to hearing from everybody. You've done one in the past, and it was pretty interesting about your career in art and design. So we look forward to hearing that again. Excuse me. So recognitions, nobody has any birthdays or anniversaries this week. But next week and the week after, be thinking, because we will be recognizing you. If Bert was on the call, he would still be getting slammed for his anniversary on December 30th. So I'm going to just keep that alive. And Will's North Bay Business Journal Award was pretty special. So we need to get that going. Will is also willing to help lead our brainstorming for our 12th anniversary celebration on April 1st. So we're all, based on our conversation this morning, pretty sure not many of us are going to have our vaccinations by then. But I think it's important enough to try to do something virtually and celebrate our 12 years together. We missed it last year because COVID had just shut everything down. So be thinking about, what you might enjoy for our anniversary party. Jay,
Yes.
you showed us something. I think it was during our board meeting that you were talking about your bird seeds.
Yeah, I'll see if I can show that to you now.
Okay,
Um,
or Jaybird.
hang
Can you
on.
guys hear a vacuum cleaner? Is there a humming going on behind me?
That's not me.
Yes.
But, I got to share, so hang on.
No, I'm saying, I think I'm going to mute because I've got a vacuum cleaner going on.
You see it? So these are pines. They're a Canadian bird. They're never down here, and they've come to Sonoma County and south because their habitat no longer feeds them. And so there are literally thousands of them around, and other birds. And the report from the National Audubon Society is that birds of every description are literally falling out of the sky from, and when they pick them up, they're all desiccated and skin and bones. So the destruction of habitat is serious, it's ongoing, and we're only at the tip of the beginning of what's happening to our environment. So I know the club tends to think of me as a radical, but it's in our face, folks.
Are these the canaries in the mine?
Exactly so. Exactly so. As far as the monarch situation, the reason I'm delaying on that is it may be too late to save them. We may not have enough time. So I want to make sure that the projects we start are effective. And the ask I'm going to make of the club is we can't just save the monarchs in Healdsburg. We have to do it in 5130. And there's not been a decision on the district level on how ambitious we're going to be. But I have to say that the 5130 and the rest of SRAG is really excited about the possibility of Rotary being a worldwide active group of great scale, having an impact on the environment. So it's something to look forward to, even though it's pretty stark. So that's my report.
I heard that the fires really impacted the birds, and because of the smoke in the air for the last 3 years have made them reroute their migrations and cause them to lose their energy, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So the fires really had something to do with it too.
There's that. There's also the lack of water. So just putting out water was a good thing. I mean, we tend not to think about the impact of the fires, but the migration of the bobcats and so forth, they're all moving into town because their normal habitat has been disrupted and continues to be disrupted. So habitat restoration is going to be the future of Rotary, I got to tell you.
I think Nancy left us.
Yeah, I don't see. Nancy seems to be gone. All right, Larry, you're on.
She has dropped off.
Turn to our speaker, Leslie, who's been so patient waiting for her time. Edward, are you there?
Yeah, I'll unmute. You hear me now, Larry?
Yes, now I got you.
Okay, I'll introduce Leslie. She's and her husband have been longtime friends of my wife and I, and they live on T Court next door to Carl and Mary Milfight, the club. And Leslie is the director of Osher Lifelong Learning Institute School of Extended and International Education at Sonoma State University, and she runs the OLLI program. She's been involved with the family winery, Brutocao Cellars, was a director of marketing for 9 years at the University of Laverne School of Continuing Education, and owned an event planning business. She received an MBA from the University of Laverne and a BA from Cal Poly Pomona. And coincidentally, my wife and Leslie were in the same fraternity, professional fraternity, different years at the same school. So they have a lot in common, but Leslie has a lot to say about the OLLI program that's beneficial for retired people and shut-ins. Leslie?
Thank you, Ed. Can you make me a co-host and I can share my screen possibly?
I
can't have the ability to share it now.
Lance can. Thank you, Lance.
Yeah, you should already be able to share.
Okay, great, wonderful. Thank you all for having me today. I appreciate your inviting me this morning. And I got my coffee, so that helped me get going here, right, for our sunrise meeting. But again, thank you for having me, and I'm going to get started. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get going here. Can you all see that? Great, wonderful. Just a little, Ed did an introduction. One of the things I was gonna share, I started with SSU about 6.5 years ago. And interesting how things come around full circle. I started with OLLI at SSU around early 2014 because I was running our OLLI site in Healdsburg. Unfortunately, we don't have that anymore, but that's where I started with SSU. Then I worked for extended education in different areas, ran our professional development programs, and just this past August, I came on as the director for the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. So I have a great love of the OLLI programs, having worked for a prior university in extended ed and also at SSU. I've always been a believer in lifelong learning. No matter where we are in life, may not mean a degree or certificate, but we're always learning. So I'm a big believer, whether it's a single course or a semester course, whatever it may be, that we're always continuing our learning. And that's basically what OLLI is about, to encourage, you might say, us older adults, and we call it 50 or better. That's our way of saying it, 50 or better, and better. So we provide programs for that community. And I'm gonna move on to the next slide about the beginnings of OLLI to give you an idea of how we got started. In 2000, local businessman Ed Stolman made his first association with Sonoma State. He'd attended classes at the Fromm Institute at University of San Francisco, who'd been around for many years, and they're still around. He wanted to develop a level learning program for seniors in Sonoma County. So that year, he approached then President Ruben Armiñana and then Dean of the School of Extended Ed, Les Adler, who, by the way, is still on our board. He's still involved with OLLI. He had the idea of creating a lifelong learning program at SSU. So Stolman funded the first year with a $50,000 gift and later mentioned the project to his friend and philanthropist, Bernard Osher, who runs the Bernard Osher Foundation out of San Francisco. They fund all types of educational programs. OLLI is just one of many. So it turned out to be a fortuitous conversation. Getting my clicker to work here. In 2001, the Bernard Osher Foundation funded 2 full years of classes at SSU before awarding a $1 million endowment and ultimately a $2 million endowment to OLLI at SSU. The second university, in fact, SSU is the second university in the United States to offer the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute programs. The first university was University of Southern Maine, so clear across the country. And Bernard Osher had a connection with that university, so that's why it happened to be the first school. So we're the second university to offer these programs. The model of lifelong learning is now at 124 campuses across the United States, with over 170,000 members at 388 cities around the country. The foundation continues to help fund programs throughout the US, and it also supports our National Resource Center for Lifelong Learning Institutes, which is located at Northwestern University. In fact, just this past October, we had our national convention. We had attendance from all 124 campuses, and it was virtual, as we're doing now. So it was very interesting to attend a virtual conference with several speakers and meetings and seminars. And it was a way to connect with other directors and volunteers from other OLLIs and get ideas of what they do, how they're handling things, how they fundraise, and also how they're managing delivering programs virtually during the pandemic, which basically 95% of the OLLI schools moved over to virtual classes. So all Osher Institutes, they offer a variety of intellectually stimulating university level non-credit courses, learning opportunities for those 50 or better. Many programs offer lectures, travel programs, special interest clubs, and they build on a sense of community among OLLI members. The goal of OLLI is this: learning solely for the joy of learning. There's no grades, no tests, no exams. You just get to come to class, meet one another, and learn something new, or maybe relearn something you learned 20, 30 or more years ago. The institutes fulfill the promise of education in its best sense, to develop the mind and spirit for a lifetime of purpose and human flourishing. I'm hoping you can see this screen pretty well. It didn't copy too well, but this is a map showing all of the institutes around the United States. And it gives you an idea. And if you're from other areas of the country or have family or friends that live elsewhere, you can connect with any OLLI around the country. In fact, right now, because classes are being held virtually, I literally could take a class from, any OLLI program around the country. And we do have that now. We'll have people from other states taking our classes and vice versa. You'll also notice California, we have probably the largest number of OLLI programs in the country. Right now we have about 25 programs, primarily at Cal State universities, also at UCs. And for instance, you'll see us at University of the Pacific, or at Dominican, UC Davis, Santa Cruz, Monterey Bay, and so on. And again, every program's a little unique, with the common goal of providing courses, but they may offer one-time classes. Some charge member fees and the classes are free. There's all different ways that they offer these programs, but again, with the same common goal. The common thread of OLLI, across the United States is the development of programs for seasoned adults with university connection and support, opportunities for volunteers, engagement. I think I need more coffee here, right? Engagement of emeritus faculty and current faculty, and involving local leaders that provide stimulating and thought-provoking courses. Most of our classes are taught by SSU faculty, but they may be faculty from many universities throughout the area. In fact, this winter we have some courses taught by instructors. They're not that are outside of our general area, but because it's on Zoom, you can teach a course from anywhere. Our courses focus on the arts, sciences, humanities, current events, and they bring older adults together to learn for the joy of learning. Each OLLI is unique, and they have specific programming and events that meets the needs of their membership with a common goal of providing lifelong learning. A little bit about OLLI at SSU. We offer courses during fall, winter, spring, and summer terms. Most of our courses are 6-week, 2-hour-a-week courses offered either in the morning or afternoon, either 1 to 3 or 3 to 5. We also now offer 3-week courses that are typically on Friday mornings. And we also offer single 2-hour course offerings, or what we call OLLI a la carte classes. We also offer OLLI off-season, which may be in between terms. So we may have a 3 to 6 week course that's in between the winter and spring term. June to August, we offer all OLLI a la carte classes to accommodate summer schedules and vacations. So that way, if you want to take a class, you're not committed to 6 weeks. You can just take a one-time only course. And we try to have a large variety of options to kind of meet everyone's interests. We also provide an OLLI course preview during the fall, winter, and spring terms for OLLI members and guests to enjoy course presentations by instructors. We offer this as a way for our members to learn about each course through a 5-minute Zoom presentation, or we used to have them in person. But that way, our students can decide, which course appeals to them, which one they want to sign up for, or if they want to sign up for all the courses. And our upcoming winter course preview will be coming up on Monday, January 11th at 10 a.m. and we'll have the link on the OLLI website. It'll be about an hour and 15 to hour and 30 minutes, and all 11 instructors for our winter session will give a brief presentation, and I'll give a bio on each instructor. So if you can attend, feel free, and I'll give you the link to our website in a few moments. Currently, our prices are $85 for a 6-week course, $60 for 3-week, and $25 for a single 2-hour course. In the past, our classes for 6 weeks were $95. We did bring our course prices down a bit this year because of the pandemic. We felt strongly about reducing the fees to our students, encouraging them to try Zoom classes, because this is a new thing for many of our members. So we've tried to keep the class prices down during this time. And also the fact that we're not having to rent classroom space. So, that's kind of changed things. We also waived our membership fee during the pandemic, so when we get back to in-person classes, and we can provide all the membership goodies, at the campus, like attending events and utilizing the library and discounts, then that will be coming back probably next fall. All our courses right now are delivered through Zoom. In the past, our classes were held at the campus, and we've had other locations as well. Starting next fall, that's our plan, crossing my fingers, next fall we'll have in-person classes, if not before. And our offices have moved to Sonoma Mountain Village in Roanoke Park. I don't know if you're familiar with that location. So it's very likely many of our classes will occur right there at SOMO. But we do plan to continue with Zoom classes. I think one thing we've learned through doing this is many of our members have really enjoyed having Zoom classes for a variety of reasons. Either they can't drive, don't want to drive. And I know I do the drive from here to Roanoke Park, not for the last 9 months, but normally I do that drive and it's about a 45-minute commute. So continuing with Zoom will probably be in our future. I've listed here where we have our online registration, our website address. You can also register by phone with our OLLI program coordinator, Grace Burrows. We have our course catalog on our website. If you're interested, I can bring it up and show you our catalog if you'd like to take a look. And in addition to our classes, we have social activities, which we just started this fall. Because one of the things we learned from our members, and when you were talking about your happy hour, I totally understand what you're saying, because that's the thing our members miss the most. They love the classes, they're getting used to Zoom classes, but they miss the interaction with fellow OLLI members, person to person, and having lunch or coffee together. So we've started offering coffee hours. We've had a couple of after hours, happy hours, where people just get together, chat, share stories, and so on. We even had we called it our OLLI Jolly. Now I'm going to mess up the name now. It was our Holly Jolly OLLI party for the holidays. So people could come and have fun and bring their favorite beverage and have some laughs together. We also have a science club, cinema club, and art club, where they get together and discuss current movies. And we work a lot with the Rialto Theater on some of these movies and programs. In fact, we've held special movie programs at the Rialto in the past. And we've had local and long distance travel programs. We have a 9-member advisory board, and we have a curriculum committee that assists with all of our course programming. So throughout the year, we get submissions from instructors all over. So I don't choose all the classes, I give input. I rely on our board of volunteers and instructors to help decide what we're going to offer throughout the year. And we also ask our members, what do you want to see? What kinds of classes? I've provided just a sampling of some of our winter classes coming up. I didn't get into detail. You can find that on our website with descriptions and the bio for our instructors. But here's a sampling. We have if you're a music fan, we have a class on Van Morrison, the music of the Belfast Cowboy, on Mondays with Pete Elman. Pete is probably one of our, you might say, one of our most popular instructors. He teaches courses on rock and roll, country rock, jazz, just about every music genre. He'll teach a course, and it's always fun. You get to listen to recordings. So you can bop to, Pete at your computer. Mick Chandler, also a longtime instructor with the university, he's going to teach a course on statesmen and rogues, the founding fathers from Washington to Aaron Burr. Mick teaches for SSU, San Francisco State, Dominican. He teaches for many OLLI programs. He's also on our advisory board, and he's a big fan of OLLI and courses. He even takes courses. So, you know, he's definitely an advocate for OLLI. We also have a course, The Evolution of Global Feminism. And some of these courses were in recognition of 100 years of the right to vote for women. So we brought in some courses regarding, you know, women and, whoops, didn't mean to do that, sorry. There we go. Another option, we always have courses on arts, current events, history, science, in those areas. We have a course on reading art, your GPS for visual literacy, story of human communication with Dr. Torres, and the family and global perspective. And this kind of gives you an idea of families throughout the world, you know, not just locally. And the last two I'll share are, we have a 3-week course. I decided we need a little more comedy in our lives right now. So we have the 3-week course, Comedians That Change Society, Moms Mabley, Lenny Bruce, and George Carlin. So each week we'll cover a different comedian, and those are on Fridays from 10 to 12 with Martin Marshall. Martin has taught many courses with OLLI, you know, a variety of comedians that you've probably known for many years. Many of our friends from Saturday Night Live, he's taught courses about. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, but anyway, and he's even done a full 6-week course on George Carlin. So you can imagine I would love that one. Hold him, that's next. And then we have a sample of an OLLI a la carte, a single 2-hour class on February 26th. Food is musical parody and social commentary. Now that's an interesting class because it's also a very humorous course, and it features a lot of the musical parody done by Weird Al Yankovic. If you're familiar with his silly songs from the last 30, 40 years, they'll bring a lot of this to light. So again, we want to bring some entertainment, some laughter, some knowledge to people's lives. So we thought some fun courses would be great for people as well. In closing, for 20 years, the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute has celebrated the joy of learning for older adults. It not only benefits members of the community, but it's a benefit to the university or college that hosts the program. In fact, for OLLI to exist, it has to be part, and you might say hosted by a university. So that's why courses are held at the university, but they can be held at off-site locations as well. Institutions of higher learning benefit from making lifelong friends of OLLI members. They're potential donors, they're mentors to college students, they help with university fundraising, and some of our SSU OLLI members are supportive of many university programs, scholarships, and support the Green Music Center, along with many other arts and sciences, the Wine Business Center, and so on. So the relationship between OLLI and the university is beneficial to both in achieving and supporting lifelong learning for all ages. So OLLI at SSU this year is celebrating 20 years, being the second university to offer OLLI. This September will be our 20th anniversary. We're hoping to have an in-person celebration with a luncheon and keynote and all of that. We shall see. If not, we'll do a Zoom celebration, much like you're talking about for your 12th anniversary. So that's all I have for you right now about OLLI. I hope you'll try us out, come and celebrate 20 years with OLLI and try out one or several of our courses. And my next slide kind of gives you our contact information. So I hope we see you in class. And we have our phone number there. You can follow OLLI on Facebook. We're trying to get that going a little more. You know, we're kind of behind the times on that. So we're promoting on Facebook. And we also have our website address on there, olli.sonoma.edu, where you'll find information on classes, special speakers. You'll find recordings of past classes, so you can just check them out. And you'll also find a recording that we had last fall. We have an event every year called the Stolman Lecture in honor of the creator of OLLI at SSU, Ed Stolman, where we have a keynote speaker, and it's a free event to all of our members. Last fall, we had David McEwen. Many of you may know him. He's a sought after instructor, and he speaks on the radio and local television networks. And he was very busy this fall with the election. So he spoke on the election and as things were in September when we had the event, which fascinating. So we'll have another one of those this coming year. So that's all I have for you. I hope I didn't go too much over there, but feel free to ask any questions if you have any, and hopefully I'll have an answer for you.
Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you very much. I've attended at least one of your classes. I have a few questions. You were doing offsite in Healdsburg. Is there a possibility of that happening again so we don't have to drive down to Roanoke Park, or?
I understand. Yeah. Well, I know at the time we looked into other locations, and unfortunately it didn't pan out, but that was like 5 years ago, I realize. You know, so things can change in those 5 years. But at this point, probably not. You know, I'll be honest, probably not. We've had classes the past couple of years at the Glazer Center. We've also had classes at Oakmont. Right now, you know, again, virtually, that's all we're doing. So I'm hoping to open more locations. That's my goal, you know, starting fall and beyond of 2021 and beyond. But I don't know. I mean, we'd love to be in Healdsburg, you know. I have to tell you, I run into people all the time saying, hey, when we coming back to Healdsburg? You know, well, you know, we need a location. And, you know, there were just, you know, some things that occurred that, you know, unfortunately we had to shut down. I know AAUW has a wonderful program at the Raven. You know, I know they offer 2 classes a term, and they utilize some of the same instructors we utilize. So, you know, I know they're certainly satisfying a need in Healdsburg, but if there's a way, you know, we'd love to do that. But I know, you know, I know AAUW seems to be doing well right now. So I understand. Yeah. But
I'm wondering what the shed's new ownership will be like relative to the space upstairs.
And you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because, you know, living in Healdsburg, I live here, you know, I've thought about that, going, wow, that would be a great location for an OLLI class. So a lot of it would just depend on, you know, are there enough people interested, you know, to support an SSU program and an AAUW program, so we don't hurt each other, you know, so there has to be enough people interested.
Right.
2, you know, I wonder what their space is. I know I've been there, and I'm not sure what the total space, you know, during, well, let's put it this way, pre-pandemic, we would get up to 100 people in our classes at SSU and Sonoma Mountain Village. You know, with the pandemic, it's changed things and lowered numbers. I think just, you know, for a lot of people, they prefer in person, and I get that. But it would depend on the space, and it would depend on the cost. the rental cost and so on, because even at SSU, we pay rent for our classrooms. It's not free, So there's a lot of things, but there's plenty of parking right across the way, especially at the times we have classes. So definitely worth looking into if there's interest.
I know the Literary Guild has held, 10, 12 public meetings, programs rather, on the upstairs of Shed. And I think the maximum is 135 to 140 people.
Okay.
And works out very good. And Bob Santos, who passed away, really was responsible for bringing OLLI to Healdsburg.
I know.
We miss him terribly. He was a great gentleman. Absolutely.
I had the opportunity to meet Bob many years ago, and I know the history with Bob, and he was the initiator of OLLI in Healdsburg. He's the one that made it happen, so we have him to thank. So, I would love to see us continue, so I'm not saying no, it won't happen. I think it just kind of depends if there's interest and if enough people would be interested in supporting, because, and again, the affordability, is the Shed space. I can't remember the new name. I know I still think of it as Shed, but it's a great location. So that would be wonderful. So.
The Literary Guild is making inroads, and because we want to continue having great authors and literary events there with the new owners. Just on a side note, my mother had a saying about learning, and I like to share that with everybody. She would say many, many times, we learn to live, then live to learn. And she was so right. We learn to live, then live to learn. But thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you so much. I appreciated the opportunity to share OLLI with you, and feel free to contact me if you have any questions, and I hope to see you in class.
There isn't one class that I would not want to take on that schedule. They all look really interesting. So thank you so much, Leslie, and Edward. Thank you for bringing Leslie to us. Leslie, to thank you for your this half hour you've given us. We are going to make a donation in your name to our Rotary International Polio Plus eradication efforts. And we are very close to eradicating polio with the help of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they joined our organization to help move this along. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Can I share something? Thank you. That is wonderful. And that is close to my heart. And I'll share why. My father had polio.
Wow.
So I know about polio. He was struck with polio when I was 2 years old. So it was right around the time of vaccinations and all of that.
Right.
And, so that's very near and dear to my heart, having, my father having had polio all his life. So thank you. That's wonderful.
You're welcome. I will send you just a brief summary about this program and what it's done over the last, since the 80s, since we started working on it. It's quite impressive.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And we appreciate your efforts. This is wonderful. I definitely will sign up for some classes. So again, Leslie, thank you. And Edward, thank you for your great job in getting us great speakers. You've done a wonderful job. And Larry, for inspiring us. And please, everybody take a look at Club Runner and let us know your thoughts. Just real briefly, let us know, because it will make a difference. Next week is January 13th, and we will be looking to the future 6 months of our club and finding out how we can make this last 6 months a very special last 6 months. So thank you, everybody, for joining today's meeting. We are 3 minutes early. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we close the meeting and I head off to save the world? Nope. Meeting is adjourned.